What's up, everybody? And welcome once again to Tale of the Tape, brought to you by Gym Bag Entertainment, the show about combat sports by guys that love combat sports. As always, it's your host. I'm Craig with my co-host.
Your ferocious freelance, Michael Johnson.
All right. So, whereas today we do not have an upcoming event for you, nor do we have an upcoming event next week. This week we will only be reviewing this past week's fights. We won't have an upcoming fight, but we do have some news for you to fill the space. And next week, make sure you tune in. We have a great episode for you. It's going to be a two-parter where we discuss upcoming title fights we'd like to see. And in light of an amazing non-title fight, super event, we'd like to pitch an additional super event later on down the line. So make sure you tune in next week to see what we do there. But let's get into it. UFC Fight Night, Blachowicz versus Jacare. That was Saturday, November 16th at the Ginásio do whatever,
In Sao Paulo.
In Sao Paulo, Brazil. So let's just start right from the beginning. In the women's bantamweight division, Vanessa Melo, 9-6, going up against the 6-1 Tracy Cortez. Let's talk about this fight.
Cool fight, pretty much how we thought it would go.
Yeah.
You know, Tracy Cortez came from the contender with that good wrestling. Vanessa Melo with the big hands, but you know, flat-footed. Melo came out, walked her down. You know, Cortez had the better striking, though. You know, she had a failed takedown in round one, but just grinding her against the cage, pretty much holding her, you know. But definitely the stronger fighter. Round two, Cortez gets a body lock on the fence, you know, actually establishes the underhooks, gets her down, can't keep her down, just kind of holding on to her.
Yeah,
you know, was riding her back, trying to trip her feet out a little bit, hoping to drag her down, you know, and Melo just surviving, hoping to not go down and get submitted. Third round, Melo's landing the left hook a little bit in the exchange. Yeah. That was good to see. He's trying to switch it, you know. Cortez with a good kick catch takedown though, and ended up in the half guard on top and, you know, beat her down pretty good, kind of, you know, a little bit there in the third round. Ends up with a pretty good unanimous decision. Yeah, it was a decent fight all around altogether. Saw a lot of good things from Tracy Cortez. Definitely got to see her. Good wrestling, good ground and pound for her. I thought her striking was good, but she wanted the takedown really bad. Yeah, she did. You know, and I thought she could have won the exchanges if she kept the fight standing. It looked like she was winning the exchanges. And Melo was, you know, super amped to be in front of the Brazilian crowd and, you know, just didn't do it. You know, it was upsetting because the crowd is super biased. Oh, super biased. And I mean, I get it, absolutely. It was a fun fight to watch. A lot of pretty decent fights in this one. I think so. Some least of the nights to go on. But in the women's featherweight division, Ariana Lipski, 11-5, going up against the 6-3-1 Veronica Macedo. Actually, we had a 24-hour notice fill-in. I don't know if you've seen this fight. I didn't notice that. Isabella Di Padua. Actually, that was her name? Actually filled in. She had the white shirt on and the short hair. Yeah. I saw the white shirt, short hair. I fast-forwarded right to the fight, so I didn't actually see the names. Yeah, she actually filled in on 24 hours notice. Wow. Which is, you know, hats incredible. Off to that. Yeah. You know, Lipski comes out with some fire, right hands, hitting her, dropped her right off the bat, gets right on top, ground and pound right off the bat. You know, Di Padua was game though. You know, she ends up getting up. They start exchanging. She changes levels and gets a great double leg takedown during the exchange. And then she starts to work on top. Very exciting round. Yeah. Very exciting back and forth between these ladies. Di Padua stayed on top, however. I ended up giving her round one, even though Lipski dropped her early. Round two, Lipski comes out looking to get the takedown. You know, which was pretty cool. It was a change up. and she got some top control, chipped away at her. Just started landing with some good short elbows, stayed in the half guard. Padua hits her with a bit of a illegal up kick. I don't know if you remember that.
I didn't see that, no.
She gets a point taken away instantly.
Yes, they did take the, okay, yep, I do remember.
She resets him down on the ground. She ends up almost getting a reverse triangle near the end of the round there, right near the bell. Did Padua, but nothing doing when it was that late. Third round, they're back to the grappling, scrambling, knee bar attempt by Lipski. She didn't really have it. She had to give it up. Scrambled to the top, ends up getting mount. Padua scrambles out. She failed the takedown attempt, ended up being in her guard, then switched back and forth. I mean, this was scrambles all over the place. I was really impressed with Isabella Padua having cardio to have a fight like this on 24 hours.
24 hours notice.
She's obviously in shape all the time.
Yeah, you got. If you want to be a true fighter and you want to be a person who gets into the UFC and you're not at the top of everybody's list, you got to be ready at any given moment to fight anybody, anywhere. So definitely big hats off to her.
Makes her debut here. Doesn't get the nod. Lipski too good here, gets a unanimous decision. The striking, I think, and the top control ended up getting her for. She had 80% on the strikes landed. So
but what would have happened with a full camp? You come in on 24 hours notice and you put on a fight. What would you have done if you had a full camp?
Yeah, I'd love to see her back. This was her debut too, so.
With a fight like that, Dana White's calling you back.
Good things for her, definitely.
Absolutely. In the featherweight division, Douglas Silva de Andrade went up against Renan Barao.
Yeah, Renan Barao, former bantamweight champion. The first bantamweight champion, I believe, of the UFC. Really? Yeah, moved up to featherweight. Bad go of his, the last 10 fights of his career or so. Lost maybe 8, I think, out of the last 10. Yeah, could still make it competitive though. So they bring him here for the card in Brazil. De Andrade, big, heavy hands, hurts him early. Hurts Barao early with a left hand in the flurry, but Barao survives. Mixed it up well. He had some pretty good kicks. He had a great takedown. It was perfect during the punching exchange. But Andrade with the heavy power, Barao got a lot of scar tissue. He's a veteran.
Yeah, he was getting.
His face started to look beat up. Even after round 1. Round 2, Andrade cuts his eye big time. Takedown by Barao though, but he just laid in his guard. No guard passes whatsoever. And conservative ground and pound. I would have thought that the ref would have stood it up a little more.
It seems like refs have been more attentive to breaking up fights and not allowing for stuff like that to happen.
Yeah, and he was just laying there. So, I was a little confused with that. But maybe takes that round. I don't know. Round 3, Andrade hurts him with the right twice. Barao's gassed at that point.
Done.
But he never stopped. He never stopped. He kept trying to throw.
Got a lot of fortitude in that man.
But Andrade definitely with the unanimous decision, got 30-27 twice and the 30-26 from one ref.
Wow.
Just putting the punches together. When he was on top as well, he had the better ground and pound, and Barao did nothing with his top control, even though he had 2 good takedowns. So, yeah, good decision for Andrade.
All right, and then we had a really good fight, a fight I was actually excited for. Worley Alvarez, 13-3, going up against the 11-3 Rude Boy Randy Brown.
Yeah, Rude Boy came to fight.
Oh, he did come to fight, and he came to showcase the fact that he's a different fighter now. He has a whole new set of weapons.
Worley Alvarez, he's renowned for having terrible cardio and conditioning, not training hard enough.
Yeah.
Super talent though. He's always had the ability, and people have always been mad at him, recognize your full talent.
Yeah.
But great kick catch to start right off the bat, takes him down.
And from right there, Rude Boy was in extreme danger for the entire round.
Absolutely. Great the whizzer hip throw. and gets on his back, Alves,
Yeah.
you know, almost gets a choke on. He's cranking on his neck.
I mean, he had that choke locked in.
He had the neck crank on and was cranking it hard, and then, you know, he had the hand under the chin.
Yep.
He had his neck, but Randy Brown never stopped.
Fighting the hand allowed the arm to get underneath the neck.
But he never stopped fighting the offhand, so he could never lock up, you know, the full choke. Which, you know, hats off to Randy Brown, because he could have been a put away early.
Yeah, beautiful reverse.
And, you know, Wally Alves spends his gas tank there trying to finish, I think. Good wrist control, though, and stayed active to escape, you know. And he got the same exact takedown when he stands up. You know, Alves throws a kick at him. Randy Brown catches it and comes in for the same exact takedown
so funny.
On Alves.
I didn't even think about it like that.
Right at the end of the round there, you know. Second round starts and catches his kick again. You know, Randy Brown was too long. For the range that he was throwing.
He threw a nice knee.
He was landing.
Yeah, he threw a nice knee.
He landed a jumping knee because of how tall he is. He landed a couple punches, and then he lands the high kick too. But he lands it, you know, just below the knee on the shin. And Alves goes in to catch the leg right at the same time. He takes him down, but immediately into the triangle by Randy Brown.
How beautiful was that, though?
You
to
know?
go to your back and literally, it was like he lassoed him into a triangle. Oh yeah, and then it was just about
he lands
working.
the high kick, and before his leg doesn't even touch the ground from there, and he grabs it and he says okay, and slaps the triangle on the way down, and you know, locks it up nice, submits him a minute and 22 seconds into round 2. Great fight for Rude Boy Randy Brown.
Great fight. Like when I watched it happen, like as soon as he went down, I saw it. Like I mean, if you know fighting, you saw that he was instantly into a triangle, and then it was just a matter because of how long his legs were to get it in nice and tight, nice and snug.
Right. Alves was smart, you know, put the hand on the hip to keep his arm across, you know, but it's just a matter of time. Randy Brown stayed patient. Locked it up nice.
Yeah, it was beautiful victory for Rude Boy, and like I said, showcasing some new abilities. One thing I don't know if you was listening when the fight first started, is Randy Brown was actually born in Massachusetts. Yeah. Moved to Jamaica. And then moved to Queens, New York, repping New York instead of throwing out that little. Give a little love to the place you were born, my friend.
That's okay.
You know, we love you out here. And then in the featherweight division, Ricardo Ramos, 13-2, going up against the undefeated Luis Eduardo Grigori.
Yeah.
Garagori.
Quite the fight here.
Yes, this was a good one.
Ricardo Ramos.
It is Ramos?
Yeah, you know, Brazil.
You never know when you're going to get a ha instead of a ra.
Yeah, and I don't understand why it's not Ricardo. But anyways.
Right? See what I'm saying?
I didn't catch the minute here, but real early.
Yes, I mean, it was fast.
Great double leg right off the bat. Takes his back in the striking exchange. That was weird, right?
Yeah, like it was
like they're striking, and then he turns when he lands the left hand and just takes his back, pushes him to the fence, you know, and then slams him from the back.
Oh, yeah, like comes back on him. Yeah.
And then to an instant rear naked choke.
It was beautiful, man.
Like instant. I don't know what the minute was, but super early.
It's gotta suck to have an O on your record and then have it stripped away from you.
Yeah.
You know, especially how fast it happened.
And I believe Garagori had the good fight out last time in Brazil. It was another Brazilian card, and you know the fans were loving him. Or no, he's from Chile, I think, and it was that card.
Oh, yep, I know. I don't remember the fight.
He got the fans behind him in that one, and the Brazilian fans were behind Ramos, of course.
Yeah, it was fast. It was unexpected, but sometimes those are the best ones when they just come out of nowhere.
Instant trouble. It was great.
So
yeah, he survived the double leg and was able to stand up. You know, Garagori, and then they struck for a second, and he took his back during the striking exchange. I thought that was quite cool.
Yeah,
and then you know, gets a little bit of a suplex there, and right to taking his back, rear naked choke. Boom.
Beautiful.
Round 1.
All right, for the main event of the prelims, Sergio Moraes, 14-5-1, going up against the 26-7 James Krause. And James Krause is like a trainer of some prominent fighters, isn't he?
Yeah, if he's trained actually with quite a few. And over the years, and I don't know who he works with lately, but if you notice his punching style, very reminiscent a bit of Dustin Poirier.
Okay, yeah.
You know, and
kind of, yeah. He actually, now that you say that, I can just see Dustin Poirier in him.
Right, and I seen some of that last night for sure, the other night for sure, but no power.
None.
You know?
Zero. More reminiscent of Nate Diaz.
Yeah. No volume either. I mean, sometimes it was just like no killer instinct. But I mean, he ends up getting a stoppage. But let's go back to the beginning here.
Yes, let's do that.
Round one, instant power, single leg dump by Sergio Moraes.
Yeah.
You know, but then just holding on.
For dear life. You know. Doing absolutely no work.
James Krause with good defense, but had to stay on that defense because Moraes can tap you. You know, he's got some of the best jiu-jitsu ever. Definitely, Krause had the better striking in round one, which isn't saying much.
No.
I mean, you know, round two, Sergio Moraes is you know, noticeably gassed already.
like blew his whole load in the first round, just holding them down.
James Krause, decent striking, you know, with that Poirier-style boxing, but like I said, no killer instinct. It was
Nothing.
like he was looking to get in there to set up a shot, but he was scared to unload it. And he was there for the taking the whole time.
Oh, I felt like he could have ended in the second round. I thought he was close to it, but I agree with you. Zero killer instinct.
Yeah.
Just like, to me, it felt like he was point fighting, just trying to win the round.
It looked like he wanted to finish him, but just didn't, you know, scared to get in there and just do it. You got to just do it. And honestly, Moraes had some powerful punches.
He did.
In the exchange. Even though he was gassed, he was the one throwing the harder punches.
Oh, I think, and maybe that's why he was afraid, was because he knew at any given moment he could be knocked out. Because there was a couple times the shot landed and you were like, oh.
Some of them big winging left hands over the top get you, you know, like, whoa, okay. Third round, Moraes exhausted. Trying to pull guard. You know, lays down after he failed that takedown attempt.
That was so terrible, man.
You know, unprofessional. But again, Krause.
I felt like one time, didn't he just like flop to the ground, like hard flop to the ground?
Bisping even said like, "Oh, come on, this is terrible here." I think he put his hand behind his head, like, you know, come down here, please. You know, no, not happening. But Krause, gun shy, man, zero power. Ends up catching him with a good right hand, probably the best shot of the whole fight. And because Moraes is completely exhausted, you know, he goes down.
Yeah.
And the ref calls it. I'm not sure he was knocked out. I think it was exhaustion. But, you know, gets a TKO or a KO out of it, you know.
And I just realized that we skipped a fight. I skipped a fight.
Yeah, we did, but it's okay.
I skipped a fight. So we're going to jump back down a little bit, and we're going to talk about Francisco Trinaldo, 23-7.
Which one was the main event of the prelims?
So that was the Krause fight.
Okay, all right.
So yeah, Francisco Trinaldo, 23-7, going up against the 24-9-1 Bobby Green. And this fight made me upset.
Yeah.
I watched it twice. And I saw the same thing both times.
Yeah, I had to put the heavy analyzation on it because of what you said to me.
Okay,
you know?
I'm glad that you did that. So let's break it down.
And yeah, I would have to agree that Francisco Trinaldo ended up getting a hometown decision, as I like to call it. Round one, left hand by Trinaldo, not bad, it's landing. Gets a takedown, for sure. Threatened to Kimura. Threatened to guillotine, and ends up getting a big slam. Those are the notable things for Trinaldo. He lands 5 significant strikes in the round. So not a bad round for Trinaldo. All in all, a good fight for Trinaldo.
But
however,
I think we're forgetting the fact that in that round, first takedown,
however,
Green, go ahead.
The takedown ends up with Green on top of him.
Yes.
Green has good top control the whole time.
Correct.
Lands a good 9 significant strikes in the first round, which I'm guessing most come from that top position there. Yep. The scrambles were good. The submissions, were threatening, but not serious. No. Nothing really. The guillotine, maybe, a little threatening, but the scrambles were on point for Bobby Green. Pretty high-paced round, more grappling than anything, know.
And then you see the big slam. It ends up with Bobby Green on top.
Right. I mean, in the mount as well, I believe.
Exactly. It was in the mount.
He instantly pushed him off.
It was really good balance and concentration to end up on top on a slam like that.
Right. So I don't know who you give those points to when it comes to the takedown. But high-paced round, that's hard to judge. I mean, 9 strikes to 5, I get,
2 takedowns, but to 2 top control positions.
Right. So
it's a tough round to judge.
Tough. Second round, clear round for Bobby Green. Slow-paced round. Both of them took the foot off the gas.
Yep.
Good hands by Green. He's landing the left. He's landing the jab pretty good, but it was like one at a time.
Yep.
But he lands
just picking a shot here.
But he lands 22 significant strikes in the round. It's significant, Francisco Trinaldo lands 16 significant strikes, but I would have to say 2/3 of those are kicks to the calf to Bobby Green. They're good, though.
Calf kicks can win a fight. We've seen it.
So all in all, pretty close round. Got to give it to Green. So that round is clear for me for Green, whereas the first round is up in the air. I mean, that's a tough one to call, but it could still be for Green. You know what I mean?
I feel like it could be for Green, but I would say, argument's sake, Trinaldo gets 2 takedowns, and there wasn't a huge gap in the significant strikes landed.
Right.
So I could say, okay.
I'll write off the Kimura attempt, but the guillotine was kind of solid for a couple seconds.
Yeah.
So that has to be taken into account.
It was in tight. He had to use both hands to get out of it. So you could say Ronaldo took the first.
Right. Second round, definitely Bobby Green's with the striking output. Third round, Bobby Green with a good kick catch takedown. Trinaldo getting a little gassed, you could tell. Ronaldo at one point gets a guillotine attempt on the fence, lands a couple knees. That was his most significant. They traded a little bit in that round, but Bobby Green ends up getting a switch on him while Trinaldo's trying to push that clinch against the fence. He ends up switching it around on him to a double leg and gets his second takedown of the round.
Yep.
Lands another good couple of strikes from the top. He gets 16 significant strikes compared to Trinaldo's 14 in that round. They both kind of went for it at the end of the fight there. But I would have to say, with the 2 takedowns, the strikes on the feet, that the third round has to be to Bobby Green, too.
And he outlanded.
Absolutely.
He outlanded him in significant strikes. So I don't understand how you could say 2 and 3 clear Bobby Green wins.
Bobby Green rounds.
And then a first round where it could go either way. I feel like there needs to be an appeal. I feel like Bobby Green needs to appeal this match.
Yeah,
because
he's upset about this one. And it's not even a split. I mean, so, I don't know, 30-27 and 29-28.
You had 2 refs who gave Trinaldo 3 rounds.
30-27, absolutely.
Like, how is that even possible?
And I think Bobby Green even took the pressure in the second and third rounds. The octagon control
octagon
was
control
his.
and aggression.
Yeah, it's a disappointing.
It is a very disappointing round. So we'll see what happens if he presses the issue and tries to get an appeal. If he does, I am Team Bobby Green.
Absolutely.
All right, for the first fight in the main event in the middleweight division, Marcus Perez, 11-2, facing the 15-3 Wellington Turman.
Good fight.
Really good fight.
Good fight to start the main card. I like this guy, Marcus Perez, very creative and entertaining. Comes to the weigh-in with the Joker makeup on his face.
I did see that.
Yeah, he's out there. I like it. I like that. But respectful, so cool. Wellington Turman looks huge at middleweight. I mean, he should probably be 205. He had the big takedown in the first round. Perez bouncing around with his kung fu style, landing some shots here and there. Turman with the better striking, a little more disciplined. Good defense by Perez in the clinch. Lackluster round. Second round, Perez with creativity, trying to find some openings, but Turman starts countering that creativity. He starts to figure out his bouncing rhythm, and lands a couple good shots on Perez off of his creative movements, which I found pretty impressive.
Yeah, I was really liking his striking.
The clinch pressure again, it's not exciting. To hold a guy on the fence and take his energy away and pound on his body and knee him to the legs and stuff. But, it's a winning formula, so you can't complain too much.
Correct.
And round 3, Perez knows he's behind, really goes for it, starts, really putting some strikes out there. Wellington Turman smartly takes him down.
Yeah.
Holds on and keeps top control for most of the round. He definitely looks a little gassed towards the end, and just holds.
Trying to win.
Holds Perez down. Being smart, and clearly wins all 3 rounds for sure. Good job by Wellington Turman.
There you go. Guy's going to try to move up the ranks, so we'll look forward to seeing who he fights next. Didn't take out too much damage, so I assume he'll fight sooner rather than later. In the lightweight division, I remember I reversed these. In the middleweight division, Antonio Arroyo, 9-2, going up against the 18-4 Andre Muniz.
This is a cool fight.
Yeah.
Muniz, the great submission artist. Arroyo was,
Arroyo, that's right.
Yeah, they would call him Arroyo. Another Brazilian. I think this was a battle of the Brazilians here.
Yeah, it was. They were 2 Brazilian fighters. I think the only fight where you had 2 Brazilian fighters facing each other. So that was cool.
Yeah, round 1, Muniz with the instant armbar attempt. I mean, they end up.
Okay. Yeah.
They end up on the ground.
It was tight.
Arroyo rushed him with some strikes.
Yeah.
Ends up hitting him, knocking him down. Muniz, ends up slapping the armbar on pretty tight. Arroyo just muscles out of it more than anything.
Which was extremely impressive.
And you could tell it took a lot out of him too. Good strikes throughout the rest of the round. They stopped the action, saying Muniz hit him with a knee while he was down. But there was no foul.
There was no foul. I remember that because his knees came up off the ground. He hit him with the knee, and then they called it a foul. Didn't they even take a point for that one?
No, I'm glad she didn't take a point, but
she took away the position.
She took away the position, right? Because he ended up on top, and she took the position from that. But this dude, Arroyo, milked that stoppage as much as he could to recover from breaking free of that armbar. Smart of him, because he had used everything to get out of that armbar. When they resumed the action, Arroyo hurts him at the horn there. He hits him with a punch and drops Muniz and hurt him. It didn't look like Muniz recovered as much during that little 5-minute stoppage. Second round, great takedown for Muniz after the flurry. Good escape from the mount for Arroyo. He was mounted bad and was definitely gonna get tapped out there for sure, because Muniz was a huge threat on the ground. He took his back, escaped to a mount position, and then got out of the mount. That was impressive by Arroyo. Once he was on top, he just laid there and rested for a while. The ref stood them up with 10 seconds left in round 2 because Arroyo was just resting.
Yeah, I mean, hey.
10 seconds left. She stands them up, separates them, and calls for them to fight again, and the horn goes off, and she got to jump back in. Why stand them up?
Yeah, waste of time, but hey, whatever.
Round 3, good double leg by Muniz, gets on his back. The grappling pressure, Muniz was, a little much for Arroyo to deal with. He ends up escaping out of the back door, though. Stands up and stands on top of Muniz pretty much while Muniz is laying in the guard. And, Arroyo does nothing much, really, of note to the end of the round. Muniz gets a unanimous decision because of all the grappling pressure and the submission pressure. 30-27 across the board. Probably least of the night here. You know, great grappling by Andre Muniz.
I'm trying to think. Exactly. Yeah, you might be right.
Now, you know, I hate to say it, but I might have to give that to the main event.
Okay, so you agree with me on that?
Yeah, you know what?
Because the main event was exceptional.
This was a good. You know, just because of the submission in the first round attempt and the choke attempt in the third round, yeah.
There was a little drama in this fight.
There was some drama in this fight.
There was no drama in the main event. So, okay,
Yeah.
all right. So at least we're seeing eye to eye because that fight we'll get to it, but that fight was boring. One of the more another exciting fight, a fight I was really excited for as much as Randy Brown. One of my favorite fighters in the division, Charles Oliveira, 27-8, 1-no contest, going up against the 15-3 Jared Gordon. This was pretty awesome.
Charles Oliveira, big-time threat, needs a big-time opponent next fight, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Jared Gordon outmatched here. Comes straight out, though. It seemed like he was trying to smother the style of Charles Oliveira.
Yep.
You know, he realized the length of Oliveira and tried to nullify that a little bit, which was smart. You know, he likes to kick a lot, so he got too close to the range. But you gotta watch out for the big punches.
Well, because Oliveira is a guy who's going to submit you.
Yeah.
He's not really a guy who knocks you out.
But he can.
And he can do it. And he showed that this
He
weekend.
lands a big body punch to the liver first, and you see Jared Gordon react to that hurt. I think the smothering style was doing all right.
It was doing all right.
Until that liver shot, where he had to take a step back.
Yeah.
And then he wasn't moving forward the same, you know, and realizes it. Tries to jump into range, counter right hand by Charles Oliveira.
Beautiful.
Right on the button, drops him down. Gordon gets back up, tries to go at him. Short little uppercut, finishes the job, and puts him out.
It was a beautiful win for Charles Oliveira. I like that. I do want to see him get a good opponent next.
Minute and 26 seconds into the first round. So yeah, big time win. He's on a 6-fight win streak in 6 stoppages as well.
Yeah.
However, his last loss came by way of Paul Felder. You want to see a good fight? That would be nice. I think.
You know what? That's better than what I was thinking.
Get the rematch. Plus, they asked him who he wouldn't mind fighting. He said Conor McGregor or Paul Felder.
I don't know if I'd care to see a Conor McGregor fight with him, even though that'd be a good opening fight for Conor. But in my head, I originally had been thinking Michael Johnson.
Ooh.
But I like the Felder matchup a lot.
Yeah.
Didn't he lose the Felder? You said he lost. Or did he?
Yeah, Oliveira is the last loss that he has before the 6-fight win streak is to Felder.
So I think you need Oliveira Felder too. I think that's a main event of a fight night.
I like that quite a bit.
That's a beautiful fight. I'd love to see. Let's make that one happen. And then to the co-main event, a surprising co-main event, and I think a robbery went down in this fight.
I think so.
I think we're going to agree. Light heavyweight, Mauricio Shogun Hua, 27-8, going up against the 12-4 Paul Craig.
This is a tough one to call, though.
You think so? Because I thought it was pretty easy to call, and I think it was, the guy you didn't think was going to win this fight.
Yeah, round 1, Paul Craig comes out
just annihilating a face
with a huge flurry. Now the flurry of punches looks huge.
Yeah.
But he lands about 4 in the flurry.
Really?
Yeah.
Even though his face
I
was...
rewinded and rewinded. Now the swelling was incredible.
Yeah.
And you could say a lot of time with fighters when their cuts, when their face cuts open real easy and stuff, that it's like, they've had a lot of fights, scar tissue opens up. But that was swelling on Shogun's face.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I think that just shows how strong the shots were,
Okay, yeah.
Because in that first flurry, I watched it a few times, and Craig throws about 12 punches, but lands about 4 solid.
Okay.
And, definitely hurt Shogun, but it takes more than that to put Shogun away.
Well, I mean, if we all, one of the greatest fights in UFC history is Shogun Rua versus Dan Hendo,
Right.
and he took an absolute beating in that fight. You're not going to just put Shogun away
I've
like
seen
that.
some massive swellings on Shogun's face too,
Yeah.
so he's perhaps prone to swelling.
Yep.
You know, so catches a big swelling from Paul Craig. Paul Craig definitely takes round one, but you know, Shogun clinched him, survived, and started to counter. Started to land some counter punches in that first round. Second round comes out, Shogun with the takedown.
Beautiful takedown.
Pressure ground and pound.
Lots and lots of ground and pound.
You know, Craig seemed to dial it back. He laid down and waited.
Hand behind the head, just like, come on, come on.
Shogun stood over him, you know, seemed to catch a little wind, plus, you know, was thinking, do I want to dive in? You know, Craig, the good submission artist. But Shogun definitely takes round two with the top control in the ground and pound.
Without a doubt.
Round three, lazy takedown attempt by Paul Craig. Super lazy. Shogun lands on top of him. Doesn't pass the guard though.
Yeah, no.
You know, just kind of lays there. It's again though, some good pressure, ground and pound on the top from Shogun. He's landed some pretty good shots. Doesn't really threaten any submissions, but Craig doesn't threaten so much from the ground either.
Not much at all.
A little more of that.
You know what I will say though?
A little more of that standing up and him laying there waiting for him.
Yeah. I did like this one thing. I don't remember. I think it was in round two. Shogun was going for a lot of ground and pound, and Paul Craig showed some of the best on your back head movement I've ever seen.
And I think that's a lot because, you know, Shogun does the same moves over and over and has been for decades.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah, because he missed a good handful, maybe a couple handfuls of punches.
Paul Craig not taking much damage out of this at all. I mean, the difference, I think that might have played a big difference in how the judges seen things. But, I mean, again, you shouldn't be judging on damage. That's not in the criteria.
Nope.
Paul Craig sneakily gets up about 10 seconds left and scores himself a takedown, though.
Yeah.
Right at the end of the fight. You got to add that in. But one takedown for him, two for Shogun, the good ground and pound for Shogun. You got 51 significant strikes landed by Paul Craig compared to Shogun's 32. But Shogun with 6 minutes of top control compared to 30 seconds for Paul Craig.
And how does this fight get ended?
A draw.
A draw.
Yeah. A split draw.
Like, I'm not a Mauricio Shogun Rua fan. I think he has one great fight in his career and one exceptional victory over Lyoto Machida, where he left a golf ball on his head, on his forehead. That was awesome. But I'm not a big fan of his. But he got absolutely robbed. How do you have top control for almost 2 entire rounds?
Yeah.
Survive a wave of an attack in the first round and somehow get a draw. And you want to know something? You know how I know? I know for a fact that Paul Craig knows he lost that fight because Shogun was pissed and Paul was just okay.
Yeah, Paul was okay with it.
He was like, my performance was lackluster. I need to do better, blah, blah, blah. You're not mad because you know you lost. And this is better than an L. A draw is better than an L, so he accepted it. I am tremendously disappointed in the way that this was decided.
Yeah, definitely a robbery here. Super, super bad job by, especially with the way that Paul Craig did the laying and waiting. The second and third rounds, you know, really dialed it back, and I don't like that at all. Shogun was pressuring the whole time.
Yep.
When you take in the octagon aggression and shit like that, too.
I wanted Paul Craig to win, and he did not do anything to get not even a draw. I don't think he did enough to get a split decision. I thought that this was 29-28, hands down.
I mean, he significantly outstrikes him, but, you know, with the top control and the aggression, and the way he laid off in the second and third, I would give it to Shogun for sure.
Absolutely. All right. Well, let's get to the least of the night.
Yeah.
One of the most disappointing UFC fights I've ever seen.
Who would have thought it would be the main event?
Yeah, with as much attention as this fight was given, and putting at the main event. Jan Blachowicz, 24-8, going up against the newly minted heavyweight Jacare Souza, 26-7, won no contest. To me, this fight more deserved a majority draw because of the lack of anything going on.
I could totally agree with that. Yeah, absolutely. And because it was far more even, than the Shogun Paul Craig fight.
Yeah, Jan lands the punches. Jacare has the clinch pressure, but nothing happens.
Or if you wanted to give somebody a split decision, then I feel like it could be awarded to Jacare because of all the clinch pressure. I don't know how they judge that position there against the fence. Because why is it not for the guy who's holding you on the fence? I don't know. It's because that was the name of the whole fight.
You know what's weird to me too is that how big Jacare is in the middleweight division and how absolutely tiny he is. And I know Jan Blachowicz is a big light heavyweight.
He's a huge
guy. But he looked like Thiago Santos is small at light heavyweight too, but it felt like Jacare was exceptionally small compared to Jan.
But looked strong.
He did look strong.
Forces the clinch twice in the first round, and it's a battle for underhooks. Jan defends well, lands a couple kicks in the first round to the legs, whatever, a couple knees in the clinch. Nothing much.
Yeah, this was a boring fight.
Round two, Jan jabs a little, super safe, super calm.
Yep, super boring.
Counter right a little bit from Jacare in the second round. The harder leg kicks, definitely by Jacare.
Yeah.
Third round, counter uppercut for Jan a little bit here and there. Jacare clinching again. Jan started getting the underhooks a little bit in the clinch, started turning him a little bit. Jacare was landing maybe one good punch each round, it seemed, It
didn't seem like anything happened in this fight.
Round four, leg kicks from Jan a little more. Pressured forward maybe a little more. He sensed a little something because of all the clinch work from Jacare. He thought he might be losing here, I think. Jacare finally lost the center of the octagon in the fourth round. Jan started pushing him back on his heels a little bit.
He was getting tired.
Fifth round, clinch again from Jacare.
Just more of the same.
More of the same. However, Jan, couple combos in there. Starts putting some hands on. Maybe stumbled him a little bit with one shot.
I think so. I think he caught him a little bit.
He dropped him a little bit, kind of hit the canvas a little bit there. Jan played it real safe because of the power of Jacare, I think. You could see the punching power might have been in Jacare's favor with them big swings.
Think so.
But I can never get that range, it seems, Jacare, when it comes to the better strikers. Mm-hmm. And Jan played it safe and just kept out of range. But I don't know, if you want a title shot, you gotta go for finishes. And that doesn't impress me. He says he wants to go up, get a title shot.
Yeah, he says nothing makes sense other than a title shot, and it's like, bro, this was like one of the most. First of all, the last person you beat was a guy who shouldn't even have been in the weight class, a guy who obviously shouldn't even be fighting anymore, and then you beat
that much to beat another middleweight.
Yeah, so show me you can beat someone real, and maybe fight one or two guys who have fought for the belt already, and then maybe, just maybe, beat Anthony Smith.
I was thinking let him fight Anthony Smith and see what happens. And where is he? I want to see Anthony Smith.
I really want. You know what?
One of the guys to do better against John Jones as of recent.
I have him in the card for. That we're going to talk about next week. So I definitely have Anthony Smith in mind for future
still a
fights.
Top contending fighter. Yeah, absolutely. I want to see him again.
Now that we got past
I don't know where Blachowicz goes from here. He's still on the upswing. Jacare, I don't know.
Jacare got to go back to middleweight, or he's got to be one of those fighters who just fills in fight nights and.
What are you going to do if he wants to continue in light heavyweight? and Weidman's dead set on it. What do you want to have them two fight again or something?
I mean, have him fight Weidman. You can have him fight guys like what's that dude I always bring up? The white dude with the bald hair that knocked out the British black dude.
Volkan Ozdemir.
Volkan Ozdemir.
I think he's I think that's a good fight for Jan. Honestly,
really?
Yeah.
Okay. I wouldn't mind. Or
because Ozdemir back on the upswing after
Oven St. Preux.
Yes.
Jacare Oven St. Preux.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So we'll see what happens with that. But let's get into some news.
Well, let's recap some of the fights real quick, actually.
All right, you don't want to recap? We'll go recap. Let's recap.
Knock these out of the way and finish off with the news. All
right, let's do it.
Well, we had some good kickboxing over the weekend at the OneFC Age of Dragons show.
I love that they name their fights this way.
We had 2 world titles up for grabs. In the light heavyweight division, we had Roman Kriklia versus Tariq Kababez.
Kababez?
Yeah.
Okay.
Even the one championship even giving me trouble sometimes.
Yeah, that's why I don't even try to look him up because I know I ain't gonna say him. Big
time kickboxing matchups here. Kriklia with some serious power. Yeah. I mean, it was just Kabayez just kind of survived the first round, and then Kriklia just put it on him in the second, gets a TKO stoppage. Doesn't drop him, but dead on his feet in the corner.
Yep.
Yeah, great fight. One of my favorite kickboxers here in the featherweight division, world title holder Elias Enahachi goes up against Wang Wenfang. Yeah.
Okay.
They go all 5 rounds to a split decision. This was a tough fight all around, but good job by Enahachi. Pretty dominant, just couldn't put Wenfang away. And Wenfang tried different things over and over, like every round. Came out with a little bit of a different varied attack, but Enahachi's, this is like his best days that he's ever seen. I don't see anybody taking that belt from him.
Okay, nice.
Really impressed with the OneFC's kickboxing. They're definitely like the highest level of world title holders.
Well, that's beautiful.
And that's great to see. Because, their MMA is really good, but maybe for half the year because, some of it's a little lackluster.
Okay.
They got to have some low-rate shows, but it's good to see this good kickboxing. Bare knuckle?
Oh, bare knuckle. There was at least 2 good fights that I saw.
Yeah, I seen the heavyweight championship. Joey Beltran goes against the champion Chase Sherman. Chase Sherman, had some good body work throughout the whole fight, but it was a big decision of big guys beating on each other for 5 rounds.
Okay.
And Joey Beltran's pace was too good. Nobody hurt too bad, honestly, which is crazy for a bare knuckle heavyweight fight.
That sounds ridiculous.
Joey Beltran, the new heavyweight champion. I'm trying to remember what his name was. The Mexicutioner. He called himself.
That's awesome. The Mexicutioner.
Yeah.
I actually looked up this event, and I was only able to find a total of 2 fights. The prelim, which was, it was cool, but it was quick and lackluster. The first guy was a guy who was on his last fight, claimed he was like never gonna fight after this fight again.
Okay.
And the other guy up and coming, and it was just like a 1-hit. Dude went down, took like the 8 count to get up, and then as soon as he stand up, you could see the glazed look in his eye.
Did he have a ponytail?
No.
That guy?
No, he did not have a ponytail. He had like a crew cut.
Okay.
And the ref waves his hand. He's like, what? Like, I mean, I kind of feel where this dude's coming from. Like, he's already claimed this is his last fight, and
let him go.
Give him another exchange.
Perhaps he was playing the count to rest a little bit.
Oh
no.
It
took him all 8 to get up.
Like even when he stood up between the seconds of 7 and 8, you could see his eyes were glazed.
Yeah.
So it was a fair stoppage, but I'm just saying this is his last fight, and it got ended in the first minute.
Yeah.
And And like if this was UFC, but this is boxing. It's not MMA. It like that's the one thing I have to like remember when I'm watching it is it's an actual boxing match with no gloves. It's like you can't throw kicks, can't throw knees. So if you get up and you look dazed, they're stopping it. So it was a good stoppage.
Right, because you can't rescue yourself with a takedown. You
Exactly.
can't clinch to rescue yourself. Yeah.
So
absolutely.
I understand that. But what was great was the main event: Artem Lobov versus Jason Knight.
The rematch. From the best BKFC fight so far. You know,
to repeat it, to repeat and be another incredible bare knuckle boxing match. Did you?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Artem Lobov is a beast. Took some serious eye damage and kept coming.
Man,
his eye looked pretty grisly.
I love how he get the first hit, the first real hit he takes, and he like falls down, and they call it because it's, in this fight it's a three knockdown rule, and he gets up and the ref's like one down. He's like, what? No, and he was like, I know. I loved it. He was like, I know.
Yeah, I believe that was the second round with the knockdown, and that's when the eye damage really started. Lobov with some good body shots, digging power punches, but Knight with some great counter punches. Definitely learned a lot from their first fight together. TKOs him in the fifth and final round. So before the end, gets himself a nice finish in. Jason Knight not with all that damage like he had after the first fight.
But even in this one, he definitely took some. He took some good damage. It was like the fact that this fight was able to that they took the hits that they took and they went 5 rounds. That was pretty awesome of the two of them. Definitely a great event. Look forward to seeing if these guys fight again.
Yeah, maybe they got one apiece now.
Oh, then there's got to be a third. You got to make it a trilogy. This fight was amazing. It was awesome, and it had everything you want out of a bare knuckle match. There was another fight though. I don't know if it was in this event or if it was a week prior or whatever, but there was a tournament that had gone on inside of bare knuckle, ending with, I can't remember the guy's name who actually won, but Reggie Barnett, who was undefeated 8-0 in bare knuckle.
Yeah.
And he went up against this other dude who was a white guy, mustache, goatee, dark hair, and it was a good fight, but kind of a one-sided fight. The guy who won was definitely landing the bigger shots. He put dude down. There was no three fall rule.
Oh.
No
so
three
he
fall
went down
rule.
over and over?
No, he I don't think he ever actually went down 3 times in a round.
All right.
I don't think he went down. I think and I want to say that it went to the decision, but it was a clear decision for the winner.
For Mr. No Name?
For Mr. No Name. I apologize for not getting his name.
That's cool though.
Yeah, but they unified 2 lightweight titles. It makes me mad that I don't know his name. I'm going to have to look that up. And then, did you see the Bigfoot Gonzaga fight?
No, I didn't catch it, but I see that it's written everywhere that Gonzaga put a beating on him. Yeah,
it was a good fight. They were both landing a lot of good punches. I want to say it was the 3rd or the 4th round, and Gonzaga was laying it into him. Bigfoot's starting to fall back, and then pop, hit him with a nice uppercut, clean, what we like to call the uppercut of justice. Hits him with it clean, and he lays out. Ref calls it. Good night, Bigfoot, and Gonzaga takes the victory. So that was the bare knuckle events that we've had over the past 2 weeks at least.
Yeah.
What else do we got? I want to look up this fight.
Ton of news. We get to try to, fit in what we can. Ben Askren retiring from mixed martial arts and combat sports in general.
Yep.
Doesn't even want to grapple anymore. Says he needs a hip replacement. He's had a long career.
Yep.
20 plus fights. But I think the losses from the UFC leaves a sour taste in his mouth.
It's got to.
He doesn't want to feel that anymore. He rode high throughout his whole career, just demolishing everybody. So, yeah, I think that's, he's 30-something years old. He's got a family.
I think I got his name. It's Crowder. His last name is Crowder. Rusty Crowder.
Rusty Crowder.
Rusty
Okay.
Crowder is the new lightweight bare knuckle champ. It was 2 belts that were unified. So
Way to go, Rusty Crowder.
there it is.
All right. Greg Hardy probably out for 6 months or more after breaking his hand. Mm-hmm. But I thought it was very interesting and pretty G status that he set the record for most heavyweight fights in a year for 5 fights in 1 year.
Wow.
Man's been fighting January to November. Pretty serious.
Yeah. We have some news on a fighter who has been released from the UFC. Gilbert Melendez gets cut. So I don't know if he'll continue fighting, maybe go to Bellator or One.
He's been there before, long-time veteran.
Yeah.
He's bounced back and forth. He's been cut by the UFC before and then earned his way back.
Yeah.
He's getting up there in age now. Long-time friend of the Diaz brothers.
Yep.
Great on the ground. Great. He's showed us some great fights, so, whatever happens, hats off to Gilbert.
Exactly. Frankie Edgar set to make his debut at 135 in January, going up against Corey Sandhagen. I don't know much about Corey Sandhagen.
Sandhagen, I can't remember his opponent last time out, but he scored a pretty smooth knockout. He's a tall, rangy bantamweight.
Okay.
Looks like he should probably be a featherweight, but he's dangerous. Got
Okay.
dangerous striking.
For UFC 246, Macy Barber, who TKO'd Jillian Robertson, is set to take on Roxanne Modafferi. This could be a good fight.
I think so. Barber was calling for Paige Van Zandt, which was silly.
Silly, yeah.
I think this is the much better fight.
Way better fight.
This is a better challenge. Mm-hmm. It's a bigger name, honestly, more relevant name right now. I mean, Van Zandt is a popular name, but Modafferi is a skills name.
Exactly. A very talented fighter. I look forward to seeing that one.
It's a better challenge. I like that.
In January 25th, I believe it's going to be a headline of a fight night. Junior Dos Santos set to fight Curtis Blades. Ooh. And this is going to be an exciting matchup.
Curtis Razor Blades, one of my favorite up-and-comers.
Yeah.
Beast. Crazy athleticism.
Great wrestling.
Crazy wrestling. Huge height and range advantage on most guys. And with that wrestling, that's crazy. Dos Anjos, a veteran, looking for a good test.
Yeah. And then making his debut at heavyweight, Alir Latifi.
Yes.
Alir Latifi getting thrown right into the Lion's Den at heavyweight. February 8th, set to fight Derek Lewis, the Black Beast, and that's like getting tossed into the Lion's Den.
I like it a lot, though.
Yeah.
Latifi notoriously always had trouble with 205, trying to cut.
Exactly.
Big, wide dude, no neck having, what I mean? I can only see him probably weighing in at like 230, but still, if he's been cutting 30 pounds, that's tough. And still beating people at 205, Latifi's going to be, significant at heavyweight. So
yeah, it'll be good to see. It'll be fun to watch. And then finally, last bit of news I have, Tyson Fury is going to train with Conor McGregor to set in motion to make his UFC debut. Wants to have a super fight against Stipe Miocic.
So wants to have a mixed martial arts rules fight against Stipe. It sounds like.
I believe that's what he wants.
Wow.
You're not going to train to fight with Conor, so you could fight a boxing match.
Right. Why would you?
But Stipe, however, did say he would love to box Tyson Fury. Right. So it could be kind of like maybe a boxing match in the octagon.
Yeah, I mean, if I was Stipe, MMA fight with Tyson holds no light for me. I would want a boxing match.
Yeah, because you like, no matter how you slice it,
I'll take you down and beat you up.
Exactly. Exactly. No boxer has come into the UFC and like straight boxer has come into the UFC and had success. They get taken down and they get bombarded. But Miocic is more interested in a fight against Tyson Fury than a rematch against Daniel Cormier.
Yeah. He's because of the challenge it presents.
Yeah.
And I like it a lot. If McGregor can do as well as he did and make that type of money too.
Yeah.
I mean, that's got to be a selling point for Miocic.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. So we'll see what happens. But before we run out of time, make sure you check us out on YouTube, Gym Bag Entertainment, all day, every day. And until next week, we'll see you in the octagon. Have a good night.